When I was a kid, the boundary between one cartoon universe and another was not always indelible. I was always trying to mix things. It was through this trait that in 2017, my creation, the Jones Sisters, a split off from my original terribly amateurish comic Random Minds, was given new life. This is not the first incarnation of my beginning volume of the Nevertomes, but with new advances in the plot lines and the new resources I've discovered in making them better come to life, this is my attempt at rewriting history. You are about to enter the realm of the Nevertomes.
Clue materialize!
Whenever a person creates a YouTube video, the first question they should be asking themselves is, what can I offer people? What makes my video special enough that would warrant their valuable time? It was through that line of thought that I decided to create backup media for my Jones Sisters stories, since so many other people have done everything from Transformers history to the top 10 of everything under the sun. To paraphrase a dirty slogan, if it exists, there's a YouTube video for it. Since this is my own creation, who better than me to talk about it? Due to my schedule as a student as of 2020, new content will be sporadic and random, but it is going to keep coming. To stay in the loop, click the subscribe icon and ring the bell to get notifications for new content. Originally one-shot characters, Ariella and Bella's first in-panel adventure was Bella trying to get her sports-crazed boyfriend Hank to notice her. To Ariella's dismay, the perfume she bought from Nordstrom's reeked of AstroTurf and orange Gatorade. Over time, these same characters would be used in later one-off entries, and eventually their cool customer, gifted little sister Nicole would enter the mix. It wasn't until later that their surname had been given to them. In videos 4 through 6 of the Nevertomes, I explain this. I also talk about the format change that made it just to a crossover between my own brainchild and my favorite comic strip, Dick Tracy. Let's start off with the scythe-haired Ariella Jones, age 21. Her day job is at Remington High School's office as a disability outreach counselor. The catalyst for this vocation was that she and another student she knew both have extremely high-functioning autism, once known as Asperger's syndrome. Ariella's main character trait is her empathy. She relishes giving the students who come into her office their voices back when they are in circumstances where they're not able to speak for themselves. The job perks and fringe benefits far outweigh the low pay as far as she's concerned. The bottomless hot cocoa that the office offers, and apart from her positive interactions with students, teachers, and parents, she has the company of her little sister Nicole, age 16, and their cousins Serena and Magda on occasion for lunch. Her elder sister, Isabella Ray Christina Jones, is the dominant mother hen of the trio, with AJ coming in a close second. Her occupation is that of a court stenographer, the same job held by their late mother Rebecca. In the 8 years that passed since their mother's death, Bella worked extremely hard and was driven fiercely to tackle the lofty schooling and practice that this skill would entail. She even works for the same judge that their mother worked for. Bella was originally written as the frustrated girlfriend of a lazy and dim-witted sports freak who wore her hair over her eye for the sultry effect it created. In the actual continuity, the boyfriend is erased from existence, and Bella doesn't have her left eye anymore. The car explosion that took their mother from them put Bella into a coma after being blasted out of the car, which left her with burns and a destroyed eyeball. Bella was basically born a mom. She always loved children and always wanted to be a big sister. Finally getting the chance at age 4 when Ariella was born. The first sign that Bella was so maternal was when she asked her father for a Cabbage Patch doll to practice rocking her upcoming sibling to sleep and doting on them. Melts your heart, doesn't it? Well, it did the same thing to everyone in the Jones family when they saw Bella playing mother. When Nicole was born, she passed this trait on to AJ, giving her permanent membership in the Jones Sibling Big Sister Club. Like any mother hen, Bella has sharp talons. Bella is as fierce as her spirit animal, the snowy owl. Bella's best friend since kindergarten is at the present time her personal trainer. Their bond does go deeper than that though, far deeper. This girl is Bella's fiancée, Sophia Danielle Schuchart. It was Sophie who first harbored these secret feelings for the blonde beauty. Sophie and Bella also had one other shared love, Bella's late boyfriend, Derek Green, the father of Bella's son, Declan. Sophie was in love with both him and Bella at the same time, but for their happiness, she kept it hidden inside. Sophie is well loved among the Jones family and their friends and cousins, none more so than Sophie's little brother Jesse and Bella's little sisters AJ and Nicole. Nicole is a multifaceted character who hides much underneath her freckles and red hair. Nicole is a quintessential tomboy and proven technological genius. Nicoleana Faye Samantha Jones bears a distinction that differentiates her from her big sisters. They are her half-sisters / half-cousins. Before you jump to the conclusion that it was an illicit affair that led to her birth, Nicole was a test tube baby. Having been struck with an unknown affliction that affected her ovaries, Rebecca Jones was unable to produce a child but could carry a fetus to term. In steps Rebecca's little sister, Esther. It was Esther who donated her genetic material out of love for Rebecca and her nieces. Rebecca's husband, Robert, gave his genetic material, and the embryo that would lead to Nicole's birth was planted, her spirit animal being that of a fawn. Nicole is called that by her surrogate big sister, Sophie. Nicole Jones is gentle and kind and very visual with her affections toward those she loves. And they have a close circle of friends who they all share. Her level of affection for this enough to burst the thermometer. Openly bisexual, Nicole has dated both boys and girls and has left her mark on all their hearts. Her best friend Raphael Hayward was her boyfriend in junior high, both of them realizing that they did love the other, but in a more sacred love than romance, loyalty crush. Her significant other is none other than her cousin Magda's best friend, Tweelan Marsden, the twin sister of Nicole's other crush, James Marsden, who is now the boyfriend of Serena Jones. This is the Jones sisters in public light, but in secret, they are a force of supernatural power known as the Trinity of Pan. Each is an ascended Fae warrior whose ancestry leads back to both Neverland Prime and the Zetascape dimensions. In Video 3, their powers are touched upon in greater detail. The Jones sisters have a shared passion for Peter Pan, which stems from their grandmother Maddie being an actual Nevertribian Fae princess. Books, movies, plays, they've seen them all. And Ariella has been the title character for quite a few performances of her own at school and camp. But ever since she turned 13, she's been able to fly without wearing the harness, but due to the dangers of Nescomp poisoning, she had to wear it for appearances. Nicole and her cousin Serena are nearly identical. The red hair and the blue eyes, they possess a magical birthmark on their face known as the Titania's Kiss, a set of 3 freckles in a triangular pattern on each of their cheeks. Ariella possesses a similar mark to her mother and Esther and grandmother's called tick marks, a genetic trait among the descendants of Fae royalty. Lieutenant Robert J. Jones is a no-nonsense police officer who is rarely seen without his dark glasses. His old partner is the squad sergeant, Dennis Briscoe, and Magda's father, Rick, is a senior detective in the same squad. Robert is no stranger to the magical abilities and nomenclature of his wife and daughters, and it is his faith in them that has caused them to thrive as much as they have, and also for his sister-in-law Esther, who was the first ever ascended Knight of Pan. Getting back to the subject of Ariella, she's had to wait the longest out of her sisters for her true love due to higher powers keeping it embargoed until the present. The boy she fell in love with in 2nd grade never left her heart or her memory. This was in part to him being the little brother of Sophie Schuchart, Jesse. His memories were dulled and kept in his psychic vaults after they were both pulled from Serene Plains Elementary when they were too romantically close to each other for their own good. During recess and lunch, all they could do was look at each other and hold hands. It was not healthy. It was decreed by Maddie's mother, Queen Aurora, that Cherry and Rebecca's children had to be tethered apart from each other for a time so that they could mature like normal kids. Aurora had seen a love this strong and fervent only once before, as seen in the unsolved Nevertomes. If you've gotten this far in this passage of the Nevertomes, you've probably had the thought cross your mind that these characters are unrealistically close to one another. This is true. Due to their extra-dimensional Fae genes, they are wired to be openly affectionate and loving with their family members. Ariella, Bella, and Nicole are in essence the 3 Panketeers. They strongly believe that petty things aren't worth the frustrations and that their love for each other is priceless. They have a strong fraternal bond that they have inherited from their mother Rebecca, who was just as close with her little brother and sister, and their mother with her elder half-sister Tiger Lily Saul. Nicole's unwavering loyalty and love toward her big sisters is astonishingly high, more so than the average sibling. She always has a hug and a peck on the cheek at the ready for them for every single occasion. She looks to her big sisters as mothers, as as much as siblings, which is quite apt because AJ and Bella also dote on her like she's their baby. Spencer and Serena Jones, both the same ages as AJ and Nicole, are just as close to each other and their cousins, their mother and father having died at least 7 years prior to now. Their Aunt Esther and her wife Jillian have adopted them and love them as their own as per Randy's final request. Serena's hairstyle has a unique quirk to it, known as the Beetle Bailey effect. Her saber-tooth-like bangs that cover both her blue eyes earned her the nickname Sabertop, and despite her bangs, she has no trouble at all seeing. Serena has a second sight that allows her to see spirits, possibly explaining her heightened senses. Serena has been in love with James Miyamoto Marsden ever since 3rd grade. Only at Nicole's Sweet 16 was this factoid revealed. Spencer Jones, on the other hand, has had his own difficulties in finding love. Before meeting his wife, Petra Pan, he had had troubles in the waters of romance. Like his family, he is also empathic and has also had to deal with more than his share of loss. What got him through it before meeting Petra was the love of his baby sister Serena and the cobalt blue electric Gibson Les Paul guitar that their father gave to him before he died. Spencer also inherited the overbearing worry gene like what Bella and Ariella have. Since their Aunt Jillian is blind, even with the daredevil light, he worries for her safety, hers, Rainie's, and Aunt Esther's, to the point where he once became shrouded in a Nesconf-like aura due to his own lack of self-regard. Once he accepted Jillian could fend for herself and what the true reason was, she was able to see him again. When their parents died, Serena and Spencer were both introduced to their Slavskortes and their great-grandmother Aurora Lania Fay earlier than they were supposed to, along with the revelation that Madalena Fay, their grandmother, was still alive in another dimension to help them through their grief. Their Slavskortes and the Slavskortes of the Trinity of Pan will be covered in video 7. To learn more about the Jones sisters, their cousins, and their extended family of friends, loved ones, and Slavskorn, my website, jonessisterscomic.com, has reference sources like character bios and glossary of terms. Be sure to join me next time as we take a look at one of the major families that plays an important role in the lives of the Jones clan, the Shoe Carts.